This is a promenade performance, and you could really help us by doing a number of things. Firstly, not standing around the side, but keeping out in the middle, as so many of you are. And certainly not sitting on any steps, because the actors have to come down. We hope you'll enjoy it more also by keeping out in the middle, except when the actors need the space, and I think they'll make it clear when that happens. And certainly also from moving from one place to another between scenes as they change. You can get different views, and really we'd be very happy for you to do that. We've enjoyed doing the play. We hope you enjoy this evening. Thank you.
Famous bequest in the world. What do you mean by that? My second best bed. Well, whether we concur with the 18th century Edmund Malone that he had forgot her, he had, as is vulgarly expressed, cut her off. Not indeed with a shilling, but with an old bed. Or find agreement with the American Schoenbaum's observation that The less valuable bed is the one rich in matrimonial associations. However we choose to read it, two things remain certain. One, there, in black and white. Faded, certainly. Difficult to read, maybe, but it's there. A fact. And two, she knew what he meant. Oh, she knew all right. By 1616, when he shuffled off this mortal coil, she knew. But I'm jumping ahead. Let's go back. To 1588, when we're all alive and kicking, with plenty of other things to worry about. For on the day in question, May the 23rd, the English fleet was sailing to meet the Drake squadron at Plymouth. Their purpose? To oppose an armada of 150 ships preparing for sail in the harbours of Catholic Spain. Invasion was the word, and in court and country, London and Stratford, and in the village of Wakely in Oxfordshire, they talked of little else.
Fools, piddles! I'm talking about that will, and don't bandy with me. You know what will, you scheming vixen.
Mind your language, Mistress Carpenter.
Oh, I'll mind it well enough. I'll mind you knows exactly what you've been doing.
Yes, you'll get your chance along with everybody else.
Depriving a man's children of their rightful owners.
I hope you did mark that, husband. The law of the land.
The law of the land's been a dead donkey in this case, and you know it.
Well, don't blame me for calling in the Iron Mighty. I didn't take them up at the Chancery, did I?
What else could she do?
Look, you all made your statements 5 years ago. I don't know what she expects to gain from dragging it all up again, but don't blame me. Here we are, and here we stay. Am I not right, husband? Now, pray excuse me, for I have an over-brimming inn to run. Huh.
Well, make the most of it. By the time I've finished, you'll be lucky if you're left with an overbrimming chamber pot.
All right. So maybe not everybody should be occupied with the Spanish Strait. Life has to go on despite the Dago minute. My name's Will. A different Will. Will Kemp. Not so well known as the other Will, maybe. And now, no more than a ghost of my former self. But in my day, I showed them. I danced the jig, Kemp's jig from London to Norwich. They lined the streets, they threw their caps in the air, and that spring they danced Kemp's jig the length of England. Shake bags. That was all in 1600. After he decided that Will Kemp, the greatest comic actor of the age, was finished. Will Kemp, the only treasure of your trilogy, and the best bell shangs between Sion and Mount Surrey. Finished. The man who played Godfrey in Much Ado, who breathed the very life into Nick Bottom in The Dream. Finished, he said. Clapped out! But the real story starts a lot earlier. When I was young.
Oh!
And full of hope. 1888, May. The George in waiting. And enter the man from Chancery.
you're doing, my girl. Don't think I don't know exactly what you've been up to. And who with. Pedals! And how many times? Oh, good day to you, sir. Can I help in any way?
I'd like a room, please.
Of course, sir. And will you be staying long?
Just the night, I hope. That is, I'm here on business, and I don't expect it to take very long.
Oh, are you the man from the Lord Chancellor?
Yes,
Ralph, he's here. It's a Mr. Shakespeare. If you will be so good as to wait for 1 moment, sir, I will see to notify to my spouse, who is without. Ralph! Ralph!
Being unloaded this very minute, Mr. Archdale.
Good oak, Thomas.
The best, Mr. Archdale.
Seasoned?
Like the ribs of Noah's good old ark, sir. Nothing green nor wet about those timbers, Mr. Archdale.
No, there's nothing green or wet about Abraham Archdale either.
Heaven forfend, sir.
So perhaps you and your merry band might like to complete my new wing. Now you have no further cause for delay.
With all convenient haste, Mr. Archdale.
I'm mighty obliged to you.
Provided? Well, sir, what with the Spanish menace, sir, many a good man's being called for beacon building.
I know, Thomas, and it's a fine and patriotic activity.
That it is, sir.
But it does not take 6 men as many days.
Can be powerful, tricky customers, your beacon, sir.
And you have been paid, Thomas, and handsomely, to build me a new wing.
Cannot be denied, Mr. Archdale.
Isn't putting you out too much. I'd like the roof on it by July.
July it is, sir.
I feel a stormy month, Father Thomas Darling. And if my first floor suffers some of the force of it, you can be sure
Yes, sir.
the rest will descend upon you.
Oh.
Be with you, Thomas.
Et cum spiritu tuo.
Down from London concerning the will? You're most welcome, sir. My name is Anne Cobbett, sir, wife of Goodman Ralph Cobbett here, sir, who owns and possesses, as you might say, the aforesaid land estate tenants and legitimates that enough to be referred to as the Georgian Way, sir.
Yes. You own the inn?
Indeed he does, sir, and a fine man too, though somewhat slow his wits. But then, as they say, if 2 men ride a horse, one of them must ride behind, sir. But then, as you say, the Georgine is the aforementioned legacy with which it has contented the Almighty to enrich us, sir.
Yes, I see. You appreciate that I'm here to take a number of depositions?
Depositions, sir?
Statements. I was hoping, in fact, that you may allow me to conduct interviews.
Oh, of course, sir, be our guest. And if there is any little something with which I or my good man can furnish you with all, to make your, no doubt, brief stay somewhat more commodious, pray do not hesitate to request it.
Well, you could help.
Oh, name it, sir. It isn't often we have the honour to entertain a gentleman from the Lord Chancellor's office, is it, Mr. Cobbett? Not that we don't have some very high-class trade, as you might say, being on the road between Worcester and London. Why, even now, we've got the Queen's...
Could somebody please notify these people that I'm here?
Oh, they won't need notifying, sir. Especially that one. No. When they find out that you've arrived, they'll be here like flies round a cow-pat. Save your efforts. Oh, Catherine, would you be so good as to show Mr. Shakestaff up to his chamber and bid the ostler accommodate his palfrey?
Madam?
Stick the horse in the stable.
Oh, yes, ma'am.
Mr. Wagstaff, pray do not hesitate to summon a medium should you require any assistance. Sir Cobbett!
You must be Catherine Wilson.
Yes.
How did you...
I've been given a list of people to talk to about the will.
Oh, I see.
You'd be the only other person living here, I understand.
Yes. Or at least I was until yesterday. We took on a new girl. But you'd not be wanting to talk to her. She just came to the village this week.
No. Well, shall we ascend to the aforementioned chamber?
I will proceed in illuminate, night, sir.
No, he's not bald. And he hasn't got a beard either. That came later. Much later. That's a fact. Born 1564. Christened the 26th of April at the Church of the Holy Trinity, Stratford-upon-Avon. Son of John Shakespeare Glover and Mary, née Arden of Wilmcote. 1564. Married, Anne Hathaway, 8 years, his senior. Died April the 23rd, 1616. The burial being 2 days later. Will Shakespeare. Jen. What else do we know? Did he was born on St George's Day? No, we don't know that. Only that he was christened a few days later. But he certainly died on St George's Day. And having the same birthday seems kind of fitting. Yes, that's it, fitting. Some facts are facts because they fit. If they don't harm anybody, why disturb them? They live well enough alongside those other facts. Real facts. Facts which are written down, sanctified and enshrined in the monument of Scripture. And one such fact is very pertinent to our story indeed. For it tells us that in 1587, a company of travelling actors known as the Queen's Men were a man short for most of their tour. One of their number, William Nell by name, having been fatally stabbed by a fellow player called John Town. It happened on the 30th of June in a side street called Whitehound Close in the market town of Tame. Small world, isn't it?
Well, you'll just have to stand in yourself, but I'm sorry.
Oh, come on, Edmund. Look, we lost Nell, nearly a year ago, and we've been making do ever since. We played Oxford, Stratford, Worcester...
You know perfectly well we never recruit on the road. No company ever does. We'll find a replacement when we get back to London.
But what do we do in the meantime? And there's another thing. The men, well, the boys particularly, they're worried about going back to Tame. I know it's stupid, but actors are superstitious people.
We're not playing Tame.
What do you mean?
What I say. You're right. We couldn't expect John Town to go back there anyway. We're putting an extra night here instead.
Here?
Why not? Nice galleries, fair bit of ground space. Won't pull so many people. It'll solve all the problems of Tame.
But what do we do for a stage?
We've often made do without a cart, a few boxes.
Excuse me, your worship, but my fellows and I couldn't help but overhearing, as it were. Do I understand you might be interested in a stage?
Well, I don't want to buy one.
No, I do conceive, sir. It's just that it is within the realms of the possible that I and the aforementioned fellows yonder might just be able to arrange a small structure in the next few hours.
That would be marvellous.
I do consort with certain in the timber trade, you understand.
And they will give you the timber.
Not as you might say give, sir, no. More a case of lead.
You can get us a skate by 2 o'clock, and I'm sure I'll make it worth it.
A bargain struck, sir. Masters, we have work to do.
Jane House.
Mr. Powers, please be...
Be seated in my own house. Thank you.
Yes, well, that's what we have to settle. Now, could you as briefly as...
Oh, I'll be brief. My father, Thomas Howes, died in 1576, the next Saturday following St. James's. He had left a will. In it, he left everything to my mother, Alice. In the event of her remarrying, the George Inn and everything in it was to be divided equally between the 5 children.
The other 4 being Christopher, Thomas, William and Elizabeth.
That's right. Well, 10 years ago, my mother did remarry. A local man called Ralph Cobbett. I suppose we should have acted then, but we didn't. So, when my mother died, and we made our claim, Ralph Cobbett denied all knowledge of the will. The rest you can see for yourself. He's remarried, and I have to get Mistress Cobbett's permission to sit at my own table.
This will. It seems that there are people willing to swear that they saw it. And
Elizabeth Jeffreys, Your Worship. Husband, President, 45 years, and I do recall, as if it was yesterday, that I did call upon neighbour Ellis here to take the pains to go with me to visit Goodman House in his sickness, whereupon, this being the Saturday before his death in the morning, we two did go together to Wakely, and at the back gate of Thomas Howe's yard met 2 men coming forth of the house, from whom we departed away, and came to the chamber where Thomas Howe lay sick. And after we had asked him how he did, I, immediately espying a writing lying somewhat negligently on the copper by the bedside, turned to Goodwife House. Rest her soul. Gossip, I said. What writing is that which lieth there? You'd best look to it to be of any account. And methinks there is a seal to it. Whereupon Thomas House himself said, "It is my will."
That's most illuminating, Mistress Jeffreys. But I suppose you didn't have the opportunity to read it.
Oh, no, sir. But there's one who did. If you can catch him sober enough to tell you about it.
Agnes Robinson's servant.
Henry Ellis is the man you want. He saw the will and he read the will. I saw him read it.
And I did too.
Emmy Carpenter.
We was all 3 of us there. Me and Agnes having come from haymaking to Mr. Curz's at water paring.
And you saw Henry James actually read Thomas House's will?
I'm willing to swear to it.
Then it looks as though I must see this Henry James. Where might...
The bell, the white hart, the crown, or any ditch between here and Headington. And if he's not drunk on sack, you can be damn sure he'll be drunk on something else. Good day to you.
first time he saw me as a threat. Aye, aye. More matter for a May morning. Are we all one?
No question? Not for me neither.
Let's do it then, lads. Come on. Thomas Sterling. Be hasty, George. There's work to be done and little enough time.
I had here a paper, Thomas.
And what might that be, I wonder? The last will and testament of George Hollyhock, late apprentice Thomas Starling, stonemason.
Oh, no, it be not that, Thomas. For I have no goods to bequeath, nor no heir to bequeath them unto.
A man should always make a will, George, no matter that he has no heir.
But come, George, read it. Your paper, deliver.
I pray that Bartholomew Beak may read it, for I am not very lettered and of slow study.
Good Bartholomew, you've been a man of more letters,
The Spanish tragedy, containing the lamentable end of Don Horatio and Bel Imperia, with a pencil death of old Geronimo.
I smell a play.
I have it up my nostril too.
Is it in Spanish, Bartholomew? For if it is treasonable and you may not read it.
It is not in Spanish, neighbours. It's just named Spanish.
The Spanish travesty.
Tragedy, Muxley, tragedy.
What is that, Thomas Starling?
A tragedy is a play performed in your playhouse by your play actors. It's a word deriving from your Greek, signifying a story wherein a man falls from a great height.
But your triplet fell from a great height Tuesday last and damaged his tools.
Oh, is that a tragedy? I cannot tell. We must ask that of Mistress. But come, Bartholomew, regale us with this play.
Enter Geronimo in his shirt, etc.
What does etc. mean?
I'm done. What outcries pluck me from my naked bed, and chill my throbbing heart with trembling fear, which never danger yet could daunt before. Who calls, Geronimo? Speak. Here I am. But stay, what murderous spectacle is this? A man hanged out, and all the murderers gone. And in my bower to lay the guilt on me.
Oh, this is where he falls for a great height, I say.
These garments that he wears I oft have seen. Alas, it is Horatio, my sweet son. Enter Isabella.
We have no Isabella, Thomas.
Neighbour Pokins, you must personate Isabella, Hieronymo's wife. Hussies.
My husband's absence makes my heart to throb.
Here, Isabella, help me to lament, for sighs have stopped and all my tears are spent.
What world of grief, my son, Horatio. And where's the author of this endless woe? Oh, gush out tears, fountains and floods of tears. Blow, sigh, raise an everlasting storm. For outrage fits our cursed rededness.
Sweet, lovely rose, ill-plucked before thy time.
Thomas?
I'll kiss you now, for worse tears are stayed.
Thomas Starling!
George Hollyhock, you did break the pattern of the play.
Never mind, Bartholomew. That was a marvellous, powerful rendition. And neighbour Pokins' performance was, well, it was...
Compelling.
compelling, as good man Stiff says. Masters, the clock upraised with a waste of time. Bartholomew, return that script to the box. I warrant this is the piece we shall see today. Masters, we have a stage to fill.
being a player. It's the Queen's men. I know. The same company I saw last year in Abbey. I know. When I was taken by Bartholomew Beak. Bartholomew Beak. That's all I ever hear about. Bartholomew means to be an actor one day. Oh yes, that one's working with Thomas Darling. Starting from the bottom up, building stages. Very well, Joan, you laugh. It'll last you see it in anyway. What do you mean? We were not play acting. They're wandering vagabonds, they are. Some of their women play with things of naught too. And them in the playhouses, orange sellers. Giving you cause, haven't you? I suppose I hadn't thought you'd have to go away. That's your trouble. It's full of fancy ideas, you just don't think. But if you did, what? Why couldn't I join you? Don't be witless. Girls of your age don't go traipsing around after wandering vagabonds. Except for a certain loose sort of wenches, and I suppose you're not thinking of becoming one of them. I said no word about traipsing around after him. I said join him. And you can't. Why not? It's not seemly. It is very likely against the law. Where there's a will, there's a way, Joan Signal.
Kate? I wonder if you could help me. I still haven't seen either Alicia or Lindley.
Catherine's making the bed, sir. Can I?
What are you doing here?
Everybody's got to be somewhere. If it comes to that, what are you doing here?
Work. Miss, I thought you were still in Temple Grafton. In fact, I'd heard you'd got married.
Make you feel better, did it?
No. Did you get married?
Is it likely I'd be working 50 miles from home if I had?
I am.
Yes. Well, we're both victims of circumstance, aren't we, Will? No. I'm not married. You'll have noticed I still wear your chain. And if you want to know, I left Temple Grafton because I got fed up being proposed to by every other farmer's son and patronised by the one half of the female population that wasn't being spiteful.
For 6 years?
I left the first spring. 6 years ago this very week. The same day Mistress Anne Shakespeare was delivered of your first child, as a matter of fact. Oh yes, I know why you dropped me, Will. Anyway, I went to live with some friends in London for a few years. And last week I decided to go home.
So, what are you doing here?
On our way back to Stratford, we stopped overnight. They said the players were coming, they'd be short-handed. I took a job for a few days. I wasn't in any hurry.
So, you're now Anne Whately of Whately?
Yes, Will. But particularly, I'm still Anne Whately. I can't help you find the witnesses, I'm afraid. Catherine should be back soon. Are you staying long?
I thought I'd have this tied up by now, but it's more complicated.
I might see you again then.
Yes. Look, there's no reason why the others should know.
No, Will. No reason at all.
It's all here. 3 stark facts in 3 mouldering church documents.
Worcester Episcopal Register. Issue of a marriage licence between a certain William Shakespeare and Anne Whately of Temple Grafton. Date, November the 27th, 1582. The Bishop of Worcester's Register. Wherein a couple of Warwickshire farmers declare that there is no barrier to a marriage between one William Shakespeare and Anne Hathaway, maiden. Date, November the 28th, 1582. Now, why should anyone take a marriage licence out for one girl on a Monday and then arrange to marry another girl on a Tuesday? Let's go back to Stratford again. The church register. Here we are. Issue of a birth certificate to a daughter of William and Anne Shakespeare. Date, May the 23rd, 1583. I'll save you the effort of counting. It was 6 months after the wedding.
Thomas, darling!
And 5 years to the very day after that, Abraham Archdale, owner of the manor house, walked the 50 yards or so from his front door, across the high street, and into the George. He wasn't in a very good mood.
Well, where in creation are they? Seek the foundation, put up some timber, take half of them down again, then disappear. I've never known the like. Completely incomprehensibly unreliable. I want them here, I want my timber. Mistress Towsy!
On, sir.
On, sir, and on, sir.
Beg your pardon, sir.
Mistress Towsy.
Yes, sir.
Mistress Towsy, have you by any remote chance in your perambulations around the village, your conversations with your excellent and esteemed good neighbours, caught sight of or even heard rumour of? Totally feckless, utterly parasitical, completely...
Your worship thinking of the builders?
Yes, Mistress Towsy. At this moment I am thinking of little else. And in particular I ask myself why, having begun work on my east wing, they have without notice seen fit to absent themselves.
There'll be, beacon building.
Oh no.
Oh, up on Trot-over Hill, sir. It's for to counter the Spanish threat. You see, sir, when the enemy is espied off the coast, a beacon will be let in contact. And upon the spine of the first, the second. When that's
Yes,
been
Mistress
espied, a
Towsy,
third,
I do
and
know
so on
that.
and so forth. Until the Catholic menace, all the while bobbing on the waves of our English channel, her treasure sails borne on the invisible and creeping wind. And our brave English boys on Trot-over Hill, sir, so many King Alfreds, give us a dreadful note of warning to deliver us from the evil Antichrist, from the superstitious tyranny of Rome.
Emlyn.
Oh, that is to say, Spain, sir. I didn't mean... Oh...
Emlyn. Please sit down. When did you come into my service?
7 years past, sir.
1581. In the winter of that same year, the most recent spate of executions saw its beginning. The deaths of 4 priests. One of them was called Edmund Campion. Weird. He was educated at St. John's and was once a great favourite of the Cecils, and his honour, the Earl of Leicester, among sundry others. At the end of his trial, he was asked, as is the custom, whether there be any reason why sentence should not be passed upon him. He said, "The only thing we have now to say is that if our religion do make us traitor, then we are worthy to be condemned, but otherwise are and have been as good subjects as ever the Queen had. I say the same standing before you now, Emlyn, and it holds true for my friend and fellow worshipper, Curson of Waterbury, as well as for Catholics of length and breadth of England. Before God we never procured our Queen's excommunication, we have sought the mitigation thereof, and we have done our allegiance notwithstanding. And I think there can be very few indeed of my religion who do not from their hearts desire to remain the Queen's loyal and devoted subjects. In good faith, Emlyn, if the Spaniards land which God and his saints forbid, they will receive a hot enough welcome from my hands.
I do know it, sir.
And well, if Thomas Darling and his men are building the shot over Beacon, may they find good timber for it, and dry.
Then, very nice as I got back from you, she came round to see me. I knew there was something. We hadn't been together for weeks.
She told you she was pregnant. And you said, "Don't worry, Anne, it'll be all right. I'll make it all right." Oh, Will, you always were too full of the milk of human kindness.
I just couldn't find you the way. I just didn't have the... Oh, I don't know.
You didn't have the will. It's your problem, isn't it? You can't make up your mind, so you sit back and let others make it up for you. What are you now? 24. Do you realise every major decision in your life has been made by somebody else? You didn't know whether or not you wanted to go to university, so you let your father persuade you to stay at home and take that apprenticeship.
Well, by that time he was heavily in debt. You know that.
You let yourself get trapped into a loveless marriage, and then, when it looks as though you've really made an important decision for once in your life, to leave Stratford and become a great lawyer in London, it turns out you were running away from some poaching charge. I mean, honestly, Will, poaching.
But it was exciting, and there wasn't much else that was exciting. And I didn't even run away to London straight away.
What did you do?
Became a schoolmaster.
A schoolmaster?
Yes, what's wrong with that? Brushed up on my Latin, read a lot.
So how long have you been with the Lord Chancellor then?
Come tomorrow. 3 weeks.
Oh, Will. So you're not the great lawyer yet?
No.
Why don't you stay a few days?
I've got to get these depositions back to London. Honestly.
All right, Will. I'll see you before you go.
Yes. Before I go.
Clap me on my shoulder, by my mate, as one should say, go to it, honest darling. Well said to Thomas, Harold Strange Thomas. Well, darling, what sayest thou, George, Ollie? It is possible, think you, that the last right there, we know where the timber was coming from. That crossed my mind, George. That did flicker fleetingly across my consciousness. Of course he knew not where the timber was coming from. I wonder did he know whither it was going? No, that he did not.
Whither is it going? To build a stage for the players' clock pole.
Oh, to which end I have entreated, requested and desired Bartholomew Bigger to devise a plan. Deliver, good Bartholomew.
I have here, masters, the drawing or plan that Thomas Bracett made of a playhouse in London when he visited the city with Mr. Archdale.
Thomas Bracett has been in a playhouse? That he has, George, and we're all implored and begged not to mention one word to Mrs. Bracett neither.
No, not a whit.
Nor me neither. But expound to us this playhouse, Bartholomew.
Oh, it is a wondrous place, masters. The whole building, if you could be a bird and see it from above, is a kind of wooden O.
Oh.
With all the galleries around for the fine ladies and gentlemen to look down upon the strutting players, while others do stand in the nether regions and look upward. But these are just the groundlings who come to court ribaldry and clowning.
Why, I like court ribaldry and clowning. When all said, Bartholomew, we can't construct ourselves a wooden O. What say you, Thomas?
Nay, that is a parlous difficulty. Masters, there is no need. This inn shall be our wooden O, and that gallery for the fine ladies and gentlemen.
And we can leave the casement windows of the upper room open for all to look through.
Thus, though we may not be in the great capital, yet we have a playhouse.
Oh, is there aught more? I do like to hear of playhouses.
Well, Thomas Bracett says there were orange sellers,
Oh, I like oranges.
and also lewd women.
Oh, I like blue women.
Bartholomew, I think we be all well aware of Master Popian's likes and fancies.
He hasn't told us of the stage yet.
Oh, it was stand to one end, masters, thrusting, as it were, like some promontory into the sea of groundlings that do swell and buffet.
Most poetical. Notwithstanding, it needs must be built before one of the flock. The players desire to rehearse.
Well then, let's do it then. And each man work his hardest, for we need all the help we can find. But not that kind of help. Morning, Henry. Drunk again and not yet 12 o'clock?
Not drunk, though I do admit to some smack of sack in me, some relish of the wine of Canary. Oh, how goes the world, dear boy?
Busily, Henry, busily.
Oh, I can take a hint, good neighbour, darling, as readily I can see. Oh, I give you good day, sir.
Good day. You must be Henry James.
Must I? I must no remedy. And you, young fella, must be the man from the law.
Yes. Could you spare a few minutes?
I certainly, were it not for these maladies that do beset me.
Maladies?
Aye, a whoresome dryness in the throat, coupled with a chronic consumption of the purse. And borrowing only lingers and lingers it out.
Some wine, please, Kate. Now, Mr. James, about this will.
Will, yes.
Agnes Robinson tells me that you visited Thomas House the day before he died. Is that true?
I did, that's true, yes.
And that you actually read Thomas House's will?
I did, yes.
Can you recall what it said?
Oh, almost every word.
Please.
Well, as I recall, after the usual preambles, Thomas House, indeed, the said lands in Wakely aforesaid unto Agnes my wife during her widowhood, and should the said Agnes remarry, then I will that the messuage be land, tenements, and hermitaments should pass presently upon the marriage of the said Sarah to my sons Thomas, William, and James, and to my daughters Jane House and Elizabeth House, who we equally share among them, to have and to hold between them and their heirs. And,
All of you, the flag, all of you, come on. Get on, quickly. One focus. Bring those flags away.
legal clerk in the office of the Lord Chancellor, whom I am so far in 3 weeks not seen. I write accounts, I send them off. I place copies in coffers. Sometimes I'm sent on errands. Sometimes, if the real lawyers are busy, I'm allowed to interview people and take depositions. Provided it isn't a terribly important case.
Why is this wicked?
It is, as they say, a living. I have a wife and 3 children to support.
How old?
The wife or the children?
The children.
The oldest, Susanna, is 5, and then there are twins, Judith and Hamlet. They're 3.
Nice. What's the matter?
What's the date?
23rd. Why?
Tomorrow is Susanna's birthday. She'll be 6. I've only seen her a dozen times in 4 years.
Do you miss the children working away?
Yes, quite a lot sometimes. But I get back to Stratford every so often. That's why I know Wheatley.
As a place to pass through. Going to somewhere more important.
Tomorrow I ought to get these statements back to London. And I ought to see my daughter on her birthday.
What will you do?
It is my duty and pleasure to announce to this august company that today, the 23rd of May, in the year of our Lord, 1588, within the walls of this very inn, the George and Waitley, in the county of Oxfordshire, the most excellent worships Her Majesty's service, otherwise known as the Queen's Men, will be performing for your pleasure and edification the Spanish tragedy, newly written by Master Thomas King, containing the lamentable end of Don Horatio and Bellingham, and the pitiful death of old Hieronymus. All this to commence at 3 of the clock.
soul to die.
Speak, traitor, damn bloody murderer, speak. Now, we have we will make thee speak. Why hast thou done this undeserving deed? Why hast thou murdered my Balthazar?
Why hast thou butchered both my children thus?
Oh, good words. I am at last revenge Paris.
But who are thy confederates in this?
That was thy daughter, Belimperia, for by her hand my Balthazar was slain.
Come on.
Why speakst thou not? Because I forgot my life.
Oh! Why speakest thou not? What lesser liberty can kings afford than harmless silence? Then afforded me. Suffice I will not, nor will I not tell thee. How monstrous resolution erect! He has forgot my life! Oh, let forth the tortures! Greater as thou art, I'll make thee tell! Thou hast tormented me as his wretched son has done in murdering my Horatio. Thou shalt not force me to reveal the things which I have found in violence. And therefore, in despite of all thy threats, pleased with their death, and ease with their revenge, first take my tongue, and afterwards my heart. Monstrous resolution erect! See, Viceroy, he hath bitten forth his tongue, rather than to reveal what we required.
Yet he can write.
And if in this he satisfy us not, we will devise the extremest kind of death. That was ever invented for a wretch.
Oh, you would have a knife. Here, and advise thee that thou write the truth.
What age hath heard such monstrous deeds? My brother, and the whole succeeding hope that Spain expected after my decease. Go bear his body hence, that we may mourn the loss of our beloved brother's death, that he may be entombed forever before. I am the next, the nearest, last of all.
And thou, Don Pedro, do the like for us. Take up our hapless son, untimely slain. Set me with him, and him with hapless me, upon the mainmast of a ship unmanned, and let the wind and tide bear me along to Scylla's barking and untaming gulf, or to the loathsome shore of Acheron, to weep my want for my sweet Balthazar. Spain hath no refuge for a portingale.
Remain! Is sweet to Don Andrea's ghost. Now my hopes can end in their effect, when blood and sorrow finish my desires. Good Horatio, murdered in his father's bower, vile Cerberine, by Pendringano slain, false Pendringano, hanged
by quaint divine. Fair Isabella, by herself misdone. Prince Balthazar by Belimperius there. The Duke of Castile and his wicked son, both done to death by good Hieronymo. My Belimperia, fallen at Dido's hell. Old Hieronymo, stabbed by himself. Aye, these were spectacles to please my soul.
You know what amazes me about these costumes, Thomas? I mean, in a small group of men, they have all their costumes and properties to carry around. Some of them mention their plot book, ledgers, God knows what else. Yet somehow, they manage to carve enough timber to build up a stage. It's ingenuity, Thomas. Good, plain, old-fashioned ingenuity. That and the will to get things done. And if I'm impressed by anything in the English character, it's ingenuity. That and initiative. They know they can have to perform in courtyards where there's no stage, but do they let that stand in their way? Not a whit, Thomas. They use their initiative. I buy that, my greatly. Use your initiative, part of you. You won't go far wrong. Is he all right?
Stage struck, sir.
Well, I don't blame him. I was pretty powerfully struck by the stage myself.
Come on, Bob, you wake up, let's go.
And good Hieronymo, slain by himself. Aye, these were spectacles to please my soul.
Oh, it were a lovely death, Edmund Campion, a marvellous, pleasing death. 9 in all. 9 what? Deaths? 2 suicides, 1 execution, 2 hangings, 1 shooting, and 3 stabbings.
Well, 4 stabbings, truly speaking. Horatio was both stabbed and hanged.
Wonderful and so true to life.
Held up as 'twere a mirror to nature.
Especially Spanish nature. Oh, take my meaning, Agnes. Oh, that is their Latin blood, Elizabeth. And the climate, of course.
And if that armada should set forth,
100 ships I did hear tell. 200. And men of war.
packed full of studs, like bold Hieronymo.
And all Spanish
men like Boldy Ronimo, Emmy?
Oh, dear lady, take not the players for the people, lest you mistake. The best in this kind are but shadows, and no more like Spaniards on the billowing main than those timbers on that stage like unto their ship. Geronimo is fiction. 200 sail, a rumour. But the men on board those ships, dear ladies, are fact. And many a Spanish wife who sits and with gossips as you sit here will no more greet her for one of those Geronimo. And that's the fact of war, no more, no less. Great. Do you realize I have just said 3 lines of perfect iambic pentameter?
George!
Richard Carlton at your service, ma'am.
I saw you in Abingdon last year.
The Guildhall Abingdon we played indeed. And the crowd so thronged to see Dick Tarleton climb that they climbed the balustrade.
Smashed the casements and stood on ladders and shoulders to see.
Oh, Alice.
But you weren't in the play today.
No, dear lady. Nor tomorrow neither. Old Tarleton's spent. I am as a candle. The best part burnt out. They have a new clown now. One Will Kemp. Young, athletic. Oh, your only jig maker. The fine young Will. Monsieur Duke Kemp.
That, as they say, showed Dick Tarleton, the man who made Queen Elizabeth laugh so much that she wet herself and ordered him to be taken away, was dead before the year was out, of poverty and a rotten liver. And John Scotto said, the party now is gone and closely clad in clay. Of all the jesters in the land, he bear the praise away. His loss was my gain. They were hard times. You had to look after yourself. Look, Thomas Kidd, the man who wrote the play, had died within 6 years of poverty, disowned by his parents. He'd been arrested the previous spring after some writings had been found in his room. Vile and heretical conceits denying the deity of Jesus Christ. Under torture, he looked after himself as best he knew how. Blamed it on the playwright who shared his room. People were prepared to believe anything of the notorious Christopher Marlowe.
Well, what did you think of it?
I enjoyed it.
No, really?
I find that kind of thing difficult to take.
What kind of thing?
Oh, not the story itself. That was fine. Quite exciting, really.
You didn't like the verse, then?
At times the verse was powerful. The gates of horn where dreams of passage in the silent night. And for me, amidst these dark and deathful shades, to drown thee with an ocean of my tears. I liked that. It seemed for an instant to be real. Oh, I don't mean that real people go around speaking in blank verse.
You haven't met Dick Tarleton.
I mean...
I know what you mean. It had a sort of truth. Just for a minute, something about it hit you between the eyes. Is that it, Will?
That's it.
Tell me, have you done the acting before?
Nothing seriously. What makes you ask?
Oh,
The way you spoke those lines just now. There was something about it.
Was it good?
Terrible. Well, don't take me so seriously. For pity's sake, don't take yourself so seriously either. We won't last 10 minutes on the stage.
I wasn't thinking of becoming an actor.
Then why did you ask the good hostess for an introduction? Fortunately, the outside has not charmed him. Take a grip on yourself, Will. Tobacco and boys will be the ruin of me, and many a fine actor. And many a playwright, too. Ah, so that's what you're about.
I was drinking with Thomas Kidd. He told me you were writing.
Let's see it then.
See what?
You're writing. Come on, man, don't shrink. Let's have it. Oh, yes. Knee-deep, bitch-thick, or head and ears a scribbler.
It's a poem. It's called Venus and Adonis. It's about the...
I know the story, Will. I was at the university. Yes, it's another one you're going to have to get used to.
Love is a spirit all compact of fire, not gross to sink, but light and will aspire. And will aspire. Yes, this is fine. Really fine. What do you do with it?
I don't know. Find a patron.
Where? Stratford? Whately? What's that hole on the road? Tame? We're off to London in the morning. Why don't you come with us? The Queen's men are a man short. Did you know that? Of course you did. I'll be honest with you, you're not being the next Dick Tarleton.
I don't want to be a clown.
Nor the next Alley, neither. But with experience, you make a decent company man. And every troupe needs its botcher to mend old plays.
I don't know that I want to spend the rest of my life mending old plays.
Then you better be good enough to make new ones. Think big, Will. Be ambitious. Nature that framed us of four elements, warring within our breast for regiment, that teach us all to have aspiring minds.
Let's see it then.
See what?
You're writing. Come on, man, don't shrink.
Nor dies revenge, although he sleeps a while. All right. All right. It's called Tamburlaine. It's about a Scythian shepherd that conquers the world. The world, Will. It's to be acted next month by the Admiral's men of the Rose. It will shock the globe.
Shock me first.
I hold the fates bound fast in an iron chain, and with my hand turn fortune's wheel about, and sooner shall the sun fall from its sphere than Tamburlaine be slain or overcome. And if thou wilt stay with me, renowned man, both we will walk upon a lofty cliff, both we will reign as consuls of the earth, and mighty kings shall be our senators. Jove sometimes marked in shepherd's weed, and in those steps that he hath scaled the heaven, so may we remain immortal like the gods. And when my name and honour shall be spread, far as Boreas flaps his brazen wings, then shalt thou be competitor with me, and sit with Tamburlaine in all his majesty!
Christopher Marlowe and his Tamburlaine took London by storm. So did his Dr. Faustus, Edward II, the Jew of Malta. But at the height of his career, Kit Marlowe is to be brutally murdered in a Deptford drinking house. Some will swear following an argument over who should settle the bill. Others will say that Sir Thomas Walsingham's Secret Service wanted him out of the way. This blaspheming, bisexual atheist, this overreacher, this double agent. Again, fact or fiction? That's another story for another time. Whatever the reason, on the 30th of May, 1593, a dagger's point from one Ingram Fraser will pierce his temple and give him a good quiet bore through his castle wall, and farewell to it.
Henry James, Ralph. Do you hear me? Henry James! Lord save us. We've little enough to worry about if the best she can muster is Henry James. I said to him, the man Shagspot, I said, you want to ask John Gadbury about that Henry James, I said. I have spoken to Mr. Gadbury, he replies, who says that Henry James will now and then be overshot in his drink. Overshot, quoth I. Now and then. Every night he overshoots, from his garret window to the far side of the High Street ditch. No lawyer in his senses would ever take any account of that Henry James. And he does seem to be sober in his wits, that Master Shagpile, doesn't he, Ralph? Ralph? Henry!
Did you tell him?
Tell him what? But of course I told him.
But did he write it down?
Verbatim and word for word.
You cannot fail to take note of it. He must. You're a local man of long standing.
And as things stand, good Jane, I stand in danger of standing no longer. Unless you do set me upon the stand, if you take my leave.
I'm tired of your bawdry, Henry. You owe me more than that, and don't you forget it.
Never, my little high blubby. Never.
Go drink yourself stupid! No matter. You've given your evidence. He can't ignore that.
And he took a statement from that Alicia Rook too. They say that she knows Henry James from haymaking. A touch too well if you ask me, but let that pass. Do you mark what she said? Do you mark that he was a man much given to drunkenness, and that she has seen him oft times in the field most beastly defile himself? Her very words. Ralph, what does defile himself mean, Ralph?
Has he told him? Henry? He says he did. Or was he sober? Don't be silly, Emmy. Well, will he believe him? Why should he not? Because he's a tosspot, that's why not. Tosspot he may be. But
He told that lawyer man he'd read the will, and he told him what it said. Let him make of that what he may.
It's late.
Tired.
Sorry, I get like this sometimes. Maybe it's the old indecision setting in.
You've got an imbalance of the melancholy humour, that's all.
Maybe.
What do you think about in these moods?
The past. Future. Past. Earlier today, looking into the river, I thought about Kate Hamner.
An old girlfriend?
No. We were kids together. Her family lived a few doors down in Henley Street. She was full of life. Do you know the kind of person I mean? Her eyes just shone, burst in life. Then one day she went missing. They thought at first she'd run off with somebody. Then they found her, just below Clopton Bridge. I was there when they pulled her out. I remember she was covered in duckweed and willow leaves.
An accident?
Part of the willow had broken off. Some say she slipped in.
But you don't think so?
Others say she died for love.
Why do you let things like this haunt you, Will?
You could call it the malady of memory. Thinking too precisely on an event. I don't know.
But what if you don't find a cure for that malady?
Ah. That way madness lies.
You need some sleep.
I'm not tired.
Bed then?
To cure me of my melancholy.
I could try.
Try.
What are you about, Bess?
Bartholomew just came round.
So?
He's joining the players. It seems they're a man short.
Bartholomew?
They say they don't recruit on the road, but if he goes with them to London, they'll find him work.
Play acting?
Looking after rich folks' horses, more like. To begin with, anyway. He says he's prepared to work his way up.
Why the mask got been deserted, Bess?
He's promised to come back.
He'll not come back.
Maybe not.
You're not grief-stricken by that, to be forsaken by your lover.
'Tis not so dramatic. And sometimes it takes a shock. I don't know. To make you act, I suppose. Force you to do something. Different. Something a bit wild.
Wild?
Unusual then. Risky.
What are you going to do?
Can you keep secret? No, I didn't think you could. All right. I left the velvet dress in the wardrobe. I'll not be wanting.
No, cannot, George. We must, and there's an end.
Well, Mr. Archdale, you might be displeased.
By that he will. Thus far, he knows not but what we've all gone beacon building.
Most patriotically God-fearing pastime.
Aye, so it is. But the one fact he is not, as it were, aware of,
On which we are loath to trouble with all,
is that we have borrowed the beams for the stage from his partly erected east wing.
which is peasantly, as you might say, in the state being a half-timbered building.
Someone comes, Thomas.
What, Bartholomew?
Stand firm, masters.
If it be of God, Ralph. If it be of goblins, husband, you may say your prayers and summon the priest. But if it be intruders of a more fleshly or corporeal kind, then show them your manhood. I mean, demand of them boldly what their business might be.
Oh, angels and ministers of grace defend us. Oh Lord, if it be in thy mind to open up some small pit or crater here on earth,
Thomas,
some minor earthquake, Lord,
Master Stone.
let it be here, the Georgian Watley, I remain your most humble servant.
By the voice, it would seem to be that well-known toxicated ale filter starring the stonemason. If, however, it be some stranger, let him know that my good man's naked weapon is out.
Boldly, Thomas.
Be not fearing, Dan. She is but flesh and bone.
Aye, so she is. 'Tis I, good lad.
Oh, it has a voice. And what dost thou here, Thomas, at this odd ignorant door watcher tonight?
Here?
Aye.
Weird intruders, Mistress Anne. Oh, we, yes.
Well, where are they then?
Now?
Yes, now stop yammering, man.
Where are they now, George?
We chased them up, Thomas.
We chased them up, man.
4 men in hoods and buckram suits.
4 men in...
And Thomas says, let's have them, lads, and 3 of them, and hearing of its cry, make bold to escape coming on the wicket gate. The other 3 making bold to stay and fight it out. And I'm a rogue if I not a broadsword with both of mine. Won't be that chirping empty bellows maker from Gardington. And I was seeing him off when on the sudden the other 6 came back.
George!
And I'm a bunch of ruddish if 8 to them.
George!
Oh, maybe 'twas 7.
If ever I heard such a concoction of lies, such a mishmash of feeble fabrication, such a farrago of feeble-legged falsehoods, may I never spit white again. Thou, at broadsword, the man who needs help cutting up his liver and onion. And thou,
May we depart in peace now, Anne?
I thou best, and if you want my aid in future, kindly call at a Christian hour, for now my bed grows cold, and you are hotly called for.
Called for?
By Catch Penny the Constable. They're meeting down at the bridge. Word is that the Armada has set sail, and they want you. Beacon building.
Oh, you did say as how we was going beacon building.
Muxley.
Yes, Thomas?
To the bridge, Muxley.
Yes, Thomas.
Oh, Ralph, if only I had been made a man, I could have wanted for nothing more than to have been blessed with thy strength and eloquence. I'm going up now, Ralph, to my bed chamber.
Well, if you want my opinion,
I do.
there never was a will. Henry James recited Paris. He can barely remember where he had his last skinful, let alone the contents of a will he claims to have seen, and 12 years ago.
But why would he make it up?
Inquiries reveal that he owes Mistress Harris a not inconsiderable sum of money. And, moreover, he had promised to marry the wench. Oh, but that's enough of law. I'm up to here with quillets and quiddities. Now, let me say good night, and so say you. If you will say so, you shall have a kiss. Good night, quoth. And here she says adieu. The honey fee of parting tended is, her arms do lend his neck a sweet embrace. Incorporate then they seem, face grows to face. I wrote that. Kid Marlowe said,
Will. I'm covered! She's a bed. Is that you, Evelyn? Stop it, Will. Yes, Kate! Yes! What's the matter? Oh, Kate, such a thing! Come in and... Oh, Evelyn, what is it?
The new girl.
What new girl?
The new girl, Anne.
Anne Whately?
I came to tell the mistress. They found her under the bridge, Thomas and the others. George saw something glistening in the moonlight down in the water. A kind of silver neck chain thing. She was holding it as tight as tight. She'd not been in there long, it seems, but she was cold, Kate. Cold as any stone.
He'd always feared drowning. And now it was Kate Hamlet all over again. I think in a way it broke something inside him. For the first time in his life, he drank alone. And drank. And God knows what goblins he unchained that night from the black brilliance of his teeming mind.
There is a willow grows around the brook and shows his hoar leaves in the glassy stream.
She is drowned already, sir, with salt water, though I seem to drown her remembrance again with more.
Clothes spread wide, and mermaid like a while they bore her up. Lord, Lord, you thought what pain it was to drown. What dreadful noise of waters in my ears. What ugly sights of death within my eyes. And long it could not be, till then her garments, heavy with their drink, pulled the poor wretch from her melodious lay, to muddy death.
When to the session of sweet silent thought, I summon up remembrance of things past.
Ever thou shalt love, in the sweet pangs of it, remember me.
Remember thee? Yea. From the table of my memory I'll write away all trivial fond recalls. All sores of books, all calls, all precious paths. That youth and observation have copied there.
Oh, it comes o'er the memory of doth the raven in the infected house, boding to all.
Canst thou not minister to a mind diseased, pluck from the memory a rooted sorrow, raise out the written troubles of the brain?
Therein the patient must administer to himself.
Things without remedy should be without regard. What's done is done.
For as one nail by strength drives out another, so the remembrance of my former love is by a newer object quite forgotten.
There's fennel and cauliflowers. There's room for you, and here's some for me. There's rosemary. That's for remembrance. Pray, love, remember. And then
there's pansies. That's for thoughts.
It's all right. It's all right. You were dreaming. It's morning now.
Will! Will! Where the devil have you been? Been looking all over for you. We leave for London in the quarter hour. Look, I found a boy who says he wants to be an actor. Only enough to play the nosy. Can he act? Is the question.
I can dissemble well enough, sir.
He can dissemble well enough, sir. We'll see. We'll see. At all events, we'll be putting up somebody on the journey. You are coming back, are you?
Time for action, Will.
Yes, I'm coming.
You've decided then?
I don't know.
Oh, Will.
No, I mean, yes.
What is it now?
Anne said, I always let other people decide things for me. Getting married, not going to university, leaving Stratford. I only came here because somebody told me to.
But this is your decision,
Is
Will.
it? I begin to wonder whether anything ever can be. It was all here for the happening, Kate. The players, the will, Kit Marlowe, you, poor Anne, and the dream. All coming together, and all so strong, and all those lies, those lies.
All right. All right. I know. It'll be great, Will. You just wait.
I'll write to you. No, honestly, I will.
I want some sonnets.
London to be a player?
I'm Resident Thomas, darling.
Dress up in ladies' clothes.
But I made the women's part, Master Pokins.
He's too young for having dealings with women's part.
Like Bel Imperio, Master Kid's Spanish tragedy.
It's unnatural.
Oh, it is. When you see those drawings, fellas, Bartholomew?
Oh, and loose wenches, I like
Oh, James!
You know that new wing of Master Archdale's manor house we're in the process of building? It's done a vanishing.
Good luck, Bartholomew. We wish you Godspeed. We will not tarry to prolong farewell as the Spanish Armada presses upon us, and we feel it our patriotic duty to be tending the beacon.
And I might pay a visit to the Mariner. You know what I mean?
Come on, get an upshot over just as the Spaniards arrive.
I'm in full. We'll meet again, Bartholomew.
For surety. I'll be back Sunday. Maybe.
Maybe.
He wrote a good 40 plays, bought himself the best house in Stratford,
and died on his 52nd birthday, leaving his wife the second best bet. With the furniture. No disputing that will. Only what it meant, and that's become a national pastime, disputing what will meant. Well, the Armada, by the way, was a total disaster, thanks to a combination of bad management and British weather. The records also show that in 1599, Will Shakespeare and Will Kemp were shareholders in the New Globe Theatre when it opened in Stratford, and that by 1600, Will Kemp had been replaced. Will Kemp, the most comical and conceited Cavaliere, Monsieur du Kemp, jestmonger and vicegerent general for the ghost of Dick Tull. That was the playwright Nash. He knew talent. But my jigs weren't wanted anymore. You see, someone more refined, subtle, who needed to play the likes of Touchstone and Lear's Fool. There was a new clown, Robert Army. He did it for me, just like I done for Dick Tull. Shame, best man had been just up my street. You see, sir, how your fooling grows old, and people dislike it. Just up my street. So Will Kemp danced out of this world, and he went on without me. Bitter? 40 odd plays in 24 years, plus the sonnets, plus running the playhouse. He was a businessman, and you need a ruthless streak. And Will